Freedom of assembly is a basic right inherent to humankind. In modern nations, it is under attack during the COVID-19 pandemic. Assembly has been restricted in the last few years through health mandates that has ranged from restrictions on large gatherings like in church to the number of guests you could have in your household. How is that allowed, and should it be? The history of the right to assembly helps to understand that. Rights are God-given, and as such, are universal to all of mankind. That is why they are protected from government restriction. But where is their origin in the eyes of American law? The Bill of Rights exists to restrict the authority of the government. One such restriction regards free assembly. According to the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people peaceably to assemble. How does this origin play out in the actual law? Assembly is broken into categories that are either protected or criminalized. The first category of protected assembly is speech-oriented assembly. The First Amendment also includes the right to free speech. When that right is exercised in a gathering, it can be protected. Examples of protected speech-oriented assembly include protest and parade. The other form of protected assembly is intimate association. That is a strict category and relates to familial bonds. Associations between husband and wife, or brother and sister, are protected. Assembly is protected within those two categories. But which categories criminalize it? Forms of assembly that actively harm public safety or peace are labeled crimes. Examples would include riot, rout, or nuisance and obstruction, such as the unlawful blockage of traffic. The legal precedent regarding free assembly matters today due to COVID-19 restrictions. Government entities like the CDC create health guidelines which are often put into place by officials like state governors. The implementation of those guidelines often limits the size, scope, and location of gatherings. But how does that mesh with the First Amendment? Concerns over assembly rights violations have cropped up in the courtroom. Cases such as Givens versus Newsom are examples of that. What do the courts think of rights-based objections to assembly restrictions? Restrictions on activities like partying don't count as either speech-oriented or intimate association. Therefore, they receive no legal protection. How can that change? A new legal category can be enshrined to protect mundane gatherings. Activities like eating at a restaurant or going to a playground can be taken for granted quite easily. But in light of recent events, it is clear that they require legal protection nonetheless. If friendly gatherings like visiting friends or attending a wedding are protected, the state cannot restrict them at will. COVID-19 restrictions have eroded basic principles of liberty. States have used their power to close down businesses and restrict friendly gatherings. That power did not just disappear overnight. The enshrinement of the friendly assembly is a protected legal term, is a preventative measure. It would ensure that free assembly is upheld to its fullest against predations of the state. It would then help keep what makes life meaningful intact, that is, associating with others in the broader community.